Istanbul, a melting pot of civilizations and cultures for centuries, straddling both Europe and Asia, an ancient city of perpetual intrigue and allure. And the reason? As Napoleon Bonaparte is believed to have once said, if the world was only one country, Istanbul would be its capital. In the third episode of HistorAI, we explore the Conquest of Istanbul in 1453. The Roman Empire has its origins in the Roman Republic, founded in 509 BCE. Its imperial period is thought to have begun in 27 BCE, when Augustus became the sole ruler of Rome. The empire reached its peak in 117 CE under Emperor Trajan, but its rulers began to realize it was becoming too difficult to manage such a vast empire. For this reason, Emperor Diocletian divided the Roman territory into the Eastern and Western Roman empires and appointed 4 emperors to rule as a tetrarchy in 286 CE. The Western Roman Empire collapsed in 476 CE, whereas the Eastern Roman Empire endured more than 1,000 years until its fall to the Ottoman Turks in 1453. The area where Istanbul now stands is thought to have first been settled as early as 8500 BCE, archaeological findings have revealed. The city is believed to have been founded in the 7th century BCE, when the Greek colonists from Megara arrived to the settlement and named it Byzantium after their king, Byzas. The city quickly became an important trade center thanks to its unique location. As the Roman Empire continued to grow, so too did its influence on Byzantium. And by the end of the 2nd century, Byzantium had accepted Roman authority. The Eastern Roman Emperor Constantine rebuilt the ancient city into a new capital around 324 to 330 CE, envisioning it as the New Rome and renaming it Constantinople after himself. The city further expanded decades later under Theodosian rule, when, between 379 and 450, its urban space doubled and new walls were built around the growing metropolis. Constantinople was emerging as a major global powerhouse of trade, culture, and religion, rivaling other major cities at the time. Its population reached its peak in the early 11th century, with an estimated 600,000 inhabitants. Growing so big doesn't come without a cost, however, as the city was under constant threat due to its allure and complications related to power struggles within the Byzantine Empire. But geographically, it held the upper hand. Constantinople's massive land walls and naval strength, enhanced by its topography, ensured control over the surrounding sea, preventing any army from besieging the city and forcing it to surrender. Over the span of 11 centuries, it faced over 20 attacks from both foreign powers and Byzantine pretenders vying for the throne. In 626, the city faced its first siege on the part of an alliance of Avars, Slavs, and Sassanid Persians, but it resisted. At the onset of the 7th century, a new religious and socio-economic power was emerging in the Arabian Peninsula with the birth of Islam. By the end of the century, the Byzantine Empire found itself with Muslim neighbors who had their eyes set on its capital. To fulfill the hadith of Prophet Muhammad, Constantinople will surely be conquered. What a wonderful leader will he be, and what a wonderful army will that army be. Muslims laid their first siege on the Byzantine capital in 670. The siege continued for 2 years, ending in failure in the fall of that year, and was followed by another failed siege launched by the Umayyad Caliphate from 717 to 718. From the 9th century until 1204, the Bulgarians, Slavs, and Russians attempted to take the city, but they too were unsuccessful. In 1204, the Latin Crusaders, who were involved in an ongoing fight for the Byzantine throne, invaded and pillaged the city. The Crusaders set up the Latin Empire of Constantinople. When Emperor Michael VIII Palaiologos took the capital back from the Crusaders in 1261, the city was in ruins. Following the Great Seljuk Empire's decline, Anatolia was divided into small principalities. One of them was that of the Ottomans, founded in 1299 in Suud. Bursa, the first Ottoman capital, was seized from the Byzantines in 1326, bringing the Ottomans closer to their prime target, Constantinople. In a series of strategic conquests, the Ottomans captured Edirne in 1369, followed by Gallipoli, today's Gelibolu, in 1371, and Thessaloniki in 1383. The Byzantine state had drastically shrunk down to just Constantinople as the Ottomans methodically encircled the city. The Byzantine state began paying an annual tribute to the Ottomans after losing Nicaea, now Iznik, in 1331, and Nicomedia, today's Izmit, in 1337. In 1395, Ottoman Sultan Bayezid I built a small castle at Anadoluhisar to monitor the passage of ships through the Istanbul Strait. He led the first Ottoman siege 5 years later, in 1400, but failed. Just over 2 decades later, Sultan Murad II, father of the man who would become the successful conqueror, laid siege to the city in 1422, launching a heavy artillery attack with a huge cannon for 11 weeks, yet his efforts failed. Manuel II Palaiologos, one of the last Byzantine emperors, journeyed to Western Europe seeking military aid to fight the Ottomans, but failed to have his requests met, partly due to political and religious disputes. By 1450, Constantinople was almost completely encircled by the Ottomans. When Ottoman Sultan Murad II passed away in 1451, his son Mehmed II succeeded his father for a second time at the age of 19. The conquest of Constantinople was vital for the Ottomans in order to accomplish the Prophet Muhammad's prophecy, and Mehmed II was determined. The young Ottoman Sultan was a self-disciplined man with unique talents, military skills, and intellectual capability. He was taught by both Islamic and Western teachers and is believed to have been fluent in Persian, Arabic, Ancient Greek, and Italian, along with his native Turkish. His eyes were fixed on the conquest of Constantinople, and soon after inheriting the sultanship, he began preparing for the coming battle. In 1451, Mehmed II ordered the Rumeli fortress to be built on the European side of the Istanbul Strait to control the waterway. After it was completed in August of 1452, he returned to Edirne for the final preparations of the siege. He planned each and every step meticulously, his priority being to build cannons large enough to destroy Constantinople's walls. His plan was to surround the Byzantine capital from both sea and land. The Sultan assembled a large army of between 50,000 and 80,000 soldiers. Mehmed II sent an envoy to the Byzantines, urging them to surrender before initiating the siege. A gigantic cannon called Shahi that he had commissioned and made in Edirne, pulled by 60 oxen, was brought to the city walls along with numerous other cannons. These cannons were used with a special combined firing technique used for the first time in the history of war. The complete siege was about to begin. It started on April 6, 1453, with a barrage of cannonballs striking the city walls. The first general attack was launched on April 18 to measure the Byzantines' power of endurance after the intensive cannon fire. On May 21, Mehmed II sent a final envoy, offering the emperor a deal if he surrendered, but his proposal was rejected once again. Unable to attack the city by water due to huge anchors blocking the entrance to the Golden Horn, Mehmed II ordered an unexpected move, one that went down in history as a brilliant and groundbreaking military maneuver. Leveling a 2 to 3 kilometer path, the Ottomans transported 72 ships overland on greased timbers, starting with smaller ones and moving on to larger double-oared ships on April 21 and 22. Seeing Ottoman ships in the Golden Horn demoralized the Byzantines, who were already suffering from food shortages in the city. The Ottoman forces carried down several assaults on the city via sea and land in May, as Ottoman sappers dug tunnels under the city and its walls. Meanwhile, large movable towers were used to reach the walls and bastions by ground. The military campaign continued for more than 50 days. A deafening silence fell over the city on May 28 as the Turks halted their bombardment for a day. Amid the eerie stillness, the Byzantines paraded saintly icons and relics through the city's streets and walls, while church bells rang all day in a mixture of hope and despair. Mehmed II spent that night planning troop movements by land and sea. He prepared essential equipment, including ladders to scale the city's walls. Sappers piled gunpowder in tunnels, and positions were assigned to archers, spearmasters, musketeers, artillerymen, and trebuchet masters. Mehmed II then addressed his army, saying, "Today is the day to display heroism and bravery." While religious leaders boosted Ottoman morale with sermons in the early hours of May 29. The final Ottoman attack began just before sunrise. Cannons were fired incessantly. The gate of St. Romanus, today's Topkapi, and its high tower were destroyed by artillery fire and burning gunpowder. After Constantine XI and his comrades were killed by Ottoman soldiers, panic ensued, causing the Byzantine defense to completely collapse. Mehmed II entered the city victorious and made his way to the dome of Hagia Sophia Church to admire the view of his conquest. At 21, Sultan Mehmed II ended the Byzantine Empire's centuries-old rule by seizing Constantinople on May 29, 1453. He etched his name into history as Fatih, meaning the conqueror. He then converted Hagia Sophia into Hagia Sophia Mosque and prayed there as a ritual of the conquest. Sultan Mehmed gave orders for the reconstruction and repopulation of the city, bringing in craftsmen and families from Anatolia and the Balkans, including non-Muslims. The Ottomans mostly called the city Constantiniye after its conquest, along with Payitaht, meaning capital, and Dar Saadet, for city of happiness. Locals, however, had been referring to the city as Istanbul, Greek for within the city, since the 10th century, which evolved into Istanbul over time. Following the conquest, the Greek Orthodox Church was allowed to remain standing, but Sultan Mehmed II appointed a new Orthodox patriarch, Gennadius II. The fall of the Queen of Cities is considered one of the key events that ended the Middle Ages and sparked the Renaissance, with fleeing scholars bringing knowledge westward. The Ottoman conquest ended Christian Europe's Silk Road access, leading to a recession and higher demand for Asian goods and fueling Columbus's 1492 journey to the Americas. It also shifted Europe's view of the Ottoman Empire as a distant threat to an immediate danger, driving the militarization of European states in the late 15th and early 16th centuries. With Istanbul's conquest, the Ottoman state paved its way to becoming a world power, the Ottoman Empire that spanned territories on 3 continents for centuries to come, with the city remaining its capital until the empire's demise in 1923, when the Republic of Turkey was founded.